Superheroes always come from a place of either a great anger, or a sense of great justice, or a sense of great pain. It feels
like
realistic. It feels like
one shot.
You saw this bike do this cool spin. And
It has to be plates, and it felt very real the way the whole explosion came out. Everything was chroma. In fact, the chroma was full floor.
Hi, this is Vikramadityamotwane, and I'm excited to be on IGN India.
Yeah, hi, I'm Arpan Kaklani, and today we'll be discussing about Bhavesh Joshi.
I would say Bahubali is the one that actually, from a scale perspective, we were to say that, okay, this is achievable, this is what you can do, this is what your storytelling can achieve. If you have the imagination, you can do stuff. I think the way Rajamouli did it in Bahubali was amazing.
For me, my eye-opening VFX was when I first worked on Jajantaram Momantaram 25 years back, where we had 1000 shots at that time and we had to do everything, and that would be my first VFX film.
Anger, lots and lots of anger. It was a moment, I wrote it in 2010, 2011, so there's a moment in time when, and of course that's the reason the government changed also, that there was so much anger on the streets just generally against, corruption, against the government, against all of that. But I think I was just angry as a citizen of a city that's kind of like, and then I'd been through the entire passport renewal kind of stuff, and had gone through that entire, like, I wanted to kill somebody. So it's just a lot of that just came out in the script, and then being a fan of the superhero genre just generally, like, I've worshipped it for so many years, and then just like it's put two and two together, and you realize that superheroes always come from a place of either a great anger, or a sense of great justice, or a sense of great pain. So I think it's just wanted to do that.
I think we were looking at a stylized world basically, and the whole point was that how can we give that. For him it was more like a realistic approach to superhero and not completely comic book like. Generally we jam slowly, there would not be a single brief on day one. It's always like when you go through the script, you start understanding what you want. It takes time for me also to understand what actually I need to do in it, because a lot of people come and put in their ideas, and at the same time he also, now I want this, then you go about.
The original draft of the film was Bhavesh. There wasn't two guys, it wasn't Bhavesh and Sikku, it was one character, it was Bhavesh, and he was living in the building, and right in front of the building is where there's a park, and they've taken over the park and they're going to construct another building or a mall or something on that. He doesn't care, but his neighbor, the old man Barve, does care, and and eventually Barve dies, and then he's sort of like. So our major discussion was that how do we do that park? How do we take that? How do we end up creating VFX in this building? How do we do time lapses? So a lot of the question in the beginning was about doing this, like, to create this Bombay outside where you see this city and you see the world and the time lapses and all that kind of stuff. And then the script sort of like then it became something else. It became about Sikku, and it became about Bhavesh and stuff. So
at the same time, as the movie was progressing, we were getting more into the superhero space. So I think initially it started off as a common man, and even in terms of VFX, it started getting much more stylized. That with very simpler things, and how would you become a superhero, where how would you actually make your costume? If we had to fight, how would I cover my face? So there are shots, we did extensive planning of what his mask should look like. We could easily end up making it look like a very sci-fi mask. He kahan se aa gaya, kaise, there's no technology to this. So he has to weld it, he has to do his own things, and even his bike, it can't just become like a Batman bike, right? So everything is modified, those kind of things, it is man-made, as any ordinary guy would want to make it. So his journey was more like, finding those kind of things. So our designs were also like, what would be his costume? I remember we did so many passes of his mask. Can we do this? Can we do that? Then he just came with, just do LED lights, basic LED lights where it comes with expressions. Although later down we felt like, we can have more expressions coming in. and it become more of that character, Bhavesh Joshi. But we stuck to just one expression in the beginning, like not overdo it.
No, trying to create the reference. I mean, that is where it started. That was the kind of like just inspiration in the sense that you want to be able to see this bleeding, broken guy, and then you sort of like work backwards from there. And I think that was where a lot of the inspiration for that started. But the mask idea came from this one little thing which is there, which you see Bhavesh use in the film. He's got that where he keeps telling people. It's one little round thing you can actually make angry faces and stuff, and like that became the inspiration afterwards for the mask. And I found that online somewhere. And I was like, oh, this is so cool.
So the bike chase was probably real with bit of cleanups here and there. Actually, they went on the bridge to the train to everything was actually real. Apart from me changing some time at the station, and the clock and all those things, it was fantastically done live.
It was a difficult shoot. Yeah, you shoot like what 5 days for just that chase sequence. I think 5 or 6 days just for that chase sequence, like night after night. That's how it was done. It was pretty much all practical. I was just discussing like it's small things that are VFX enhanced. It's like the nitrous oxide boost, cleanups and in places. There is one shot though, not in the bike chase. There's one shot in when he's practicing, where I again just wanted to give the audience the sense that it's not a double all the time. So there is a bit where the bike sort of like comes, it spins and it stops, and you're gonna go closer, and the helmet comes off, and it's actually Harsh. So that was a face replacement kind of shot that we did, where practically I forgot about that.
So the bike comes and stops, then the bike with Harsh comes over there, we stitch it, and then the hero gets this.
So when it sort of like does that, you're like, great, it is the hero. So
but it looks
feels
like
realistic. It feels like
one shot.
You saw this bike do this cool spin and sort of stop, and the guy who took the helmet
cut,
off
it
was
just
the
stops
hero.
and you zoom in and you remove the helmet. So that sells.
It sort of
something
sells the moment.
Yeah, so I think two big pieces were the tanker depot blast, which we had to take it with 3 multiple. So what we did was we took we selected some location here in Juhu only, where we created we simulated the lights of the blast basically inside, where we placed all the trucks and we had some wind blowers under the trucks, and basically some light simulations inside, no real blast. And those blasts were then created in RML in Film City, where we actually created a huge blast which was then composited in that shot, and we did multiple takes of that. And we also had then the hero coming out of it, bang on the truck and falling down. So they were all against the light, where all these plates of fire to everything. I didn't want to do any CG or CG creation because I was not too confident that it would have looked good, because even Sid wanted the fire to have the details of that HDRI. What do you have the fire details when you see it with your raw eyes? So that's why I was very clear, I don't want to do anything CG in this. It has to be plates, and it felt very real the way the whole explosion came out, the whole light interactions, everything. That's one piece which was, I think, I really loved it. And the second is the pipeline scene. We took a studio floor and we built 2 pipes, and they were roughly around 100 feet.
Yeah, that was a Film City. That floor, yeah, probably 100 feet long.
And
with all the grass in between and sort of like growing.
And there was a bridge on top.
In the center.
And there was a bridge on top also. And now these 2 sides, both the sides had to be extended. All these 2 sides had to be extended. Everything was chroma. In fact, the chroma was full floor. And since there was rain, and I didn't want extreme rain because that I would add. So we had this drizzle so that I would get interaction on the actors, that little bit of wet coming out, like those sparkle, like when the rain falls on you, it bounces off. So we had a controlled, subtle rain which gave good interactions, made it wet, and then on top of it I added my rain on it to give it that little bit of force inside, like it's raining heavily.
The last fight scene, yeah, I mean, like as Arpan saying, I think just to create what the fact that by now in that fight scene is like you've been hinting at a superhero all this while, and in that fight scene is his big superhero moment. This is the time that he is, which is why when you suddenly see that in the long shot of that fight scene, you've seen them on top of a pipeline, two people fighting in silhouette with the city in the background. It's like that release of space is the first time you end up seeing the fact that this is almost a graphic novel. This is now something which is he's a part of the city. The city belongs to him. There's a lot of said in that one moment. So I think the build up to that was kind of coming. But I keep forgetting, like Bhavesh, like for me, like okay, these two sequences of the big one. I also forget the smaller, like even the falling down from the thing. It's not VFX, but a lot of cleanups.
Yeah.
But again, a lot of
underwater shots.
There's a lot of just VFX in Bhavesh, other than those two sequences, been used a lot to just enhance and to clean up very invisibly. I don't even remember some of those things. I don't remember the fact that we did this, we did that. It's so seamless and so invisible in
almost
a lot
like
of those places.
1,000-1,200 shots in that film itself. Underwater, where he goes and actually does that.
Yeah. Bhavesh was a cracking shoot. I mean, it was a very tough shoot, very tough shoot. But yeah, that bike chase was quite a shoot. I think just going into these places, going to those stations, going to sort of like do stuff on like Chutney Road at 4 a.m. where like just those things was always just very exciting to be able to do, and just to like have that homegrown hero kind of. So overall, I just feel that it was a fun shoot. Yeah.
For me, I think it was my biggest VFX film. Because before that, it was always like, do cleanups, 2D compositing. I was very scared at that time. So, and doing that kind of work was very, very challenging. And I got to explore so much, like getting previs where, no one even thought of doing 3D previs here. So, you got the chance to do previs, you got a chance to build these kind of extensive sets.
I think the flaw in Bhavesh's case would have been maybe it's a little dense, and like I said if I think the lead would have been a woman, I think it would have been a better movie. I think it would have created better conflict. It would have made for more interesting kind of plot, and the fact that in the end when the mask is removed, you're expecting a guy, turns out to be a girl. I think there's a huge surprise there, and it also just like it makes that mountain for her to climb so much more difficult because. If you learn action, you have to fight men, you have to ride the bike, you have to do all that kind of stuff and all. It would have been a big mountain to climb. I think that would have helped. But yeah, I just feel that the movie was like 20 minutes too long, which again comes down to writing. It's like you do the best you can. But again, for that moment, I'm and I still am. I think of all the films that I've made, I'm the proudest of Bhavesh when it comes to execution. I think execution-wise, I'm the happiest with that film. I think that we achieved. It's a very ambitious film, and I'm very happy with what me and the team achieved from a technical perspective and a storytelling perspective. Hi, this is Vikramadityamotwane. Thank you for watching us discuss Bhavesh Joshi on IGN India. Please like, share, subscribe.